Chapter 14, True Sportsmanship. There were 6 blanket rolls around the edges of the room, but there were only 5 men seated about the stove, a patched and shattered stove eaten through with rust here and there, so that the flames gleamed now and then, and puffs and curls of smoke were constantly rising. Above it, the pipe staggered up to the roof, bound about and secured with bits of wire. But for all the smoke which rose from it, the stove was the most necessary bit of furniture in the chamber. Even when it was kept roaring day and night, the dampness soaked up through the boards of the flooring, and cold wet winds, filled with the harvest of coal which they had gathered from the snows of the summit, swept in under the big pines and whistled through the chinks of the wretched walls of the shack, stabbing them in with icy draughts which made them shudder from time to time. An hour of work would have patched those walls and made them proof against the storm, but the 5 had greater things to occupy their minds than the mere patching of a rickety house. They preferred to alternately roast and shiver in this damp house, while they conned over and over the scheme which held them there. And though the cold weather might be unfortunate, at least they were secure here against a greater danger, and that was from the long arms of the law which were reaching out for them, fumbling constantly to find them. Here, near the crests of the mountain, wrapped about in the gloom of the pine forest, they could develop their plans and let the law fumble and reach in vain toward them. Jim Jones was the least significant of the 5. Next to him was the long and lank form of Hank Gear, perpetually swallowing a triangular jutting Adam's apple, which perpetually rose again. He was a famous man, was Hank. He was useful in the extreme to any criminal society for the very good reason that there was nothing which he would not attempt. He was reckless, it might be said, by calculated principle, for when a man has the burden of half a dozen murders upon his head, he knows, as Hank Gear knew, that the recompense is coming and will not be long delayed. He had done enough to warrant many deaths. Therefore he was willing to keep on doing, convinced that